Okay, so that is good enough. So let me get the majority leader to second the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't know the people of Diwa are your in-laws. You know, Senator Eddy has been trying to catch your attention. So I was wondering whether, if there is in-laws, Mr. Speaker, then we can allow him to talk. But, Mr. Speaker, then how can we allow a bachelor to address distinguished... Mr. Speaker.
Proceed and second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This motion has generated a lot of interest, so therefore it has really saved time.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very important motion brought by my colleague, Senator Ledama, which every senator that minds the affairs of this House and values devolution should take time to speak to, but not just speak to, reflect about it and what it means for this House. Mr. Speaker, we must first begin by asking the question, how did we find ourselves here? We found ourselves here, Mr. Speaker, and I'll repeat for the 18th time, because governors went on a whirlwind trip in Kilifi, and while they were enjoying whatever they were enjoying, incited themselves and said that there is a committee of the Senate that is not treating us with the dignity that we deserve. We feel they are unkind to us, and so many other things that they have mentioned. And they came with the silliest ideas that has ever left the minds of Council of Governors, that they shall not appear before the County Public Accounts Committee. And since that particular day, things have not been okay, Mr. Speaker. I read it for what it is since that particular day, Mr. Speaker, that this is a direct attack to the very heart and soul of the Senate. And as leader of majority, Mr. Speaker, I have been fairly consistent on this matter, perhaps more than anything else, Mr. Speaker, that this is not something that we can even countenance, Mr. Speaker. Because, unfortunately, for some of us, for the little years that we have lived on this earth, the only institution that we've had the very rare opportunity to infuse our thoughts and share in the philosophy of what it will become in years to come by, it is this House of the Senate, Mr. Speaker. And some of us are not in a hurry to leave this House, so long as the people continue to have the trust and the will to allow us to come into this House, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we must guard this institution by everything that we believe in. Mr. Speaker, when the Council of Governors raised the issues that they raised, we responded like diligent citizens are expected to do. We mentioned to them and said, while we hear what you're saying, that is not the procedure. Appearance before a parliamentary committee is not a buffet, Mr. Speaker, where you pick what you like and you leave what you don't like, Mr. Speaker. This is a mandatory exercise to which you must undertake so long as you interact with public resources, Mr. Speaker. And there is sufficient backing constitutionally, Mr. Speaker, edits of law, Mr. Speaker, and even advisories from the highest courts of the land, Mr. Speaker. Because this is not the first time that we are finding ourselves here. Governors have even attempted to go all the way to the Supreme Court. It took the judges of the Supreme Court to remind them that appearance before the Senate, Mr. Speaker, is mandatory and expected of any individual that interacts with public resources, Mr. Speaker. And so we responded in kind and said, good people, we don't know what it is that you feel so much offended by our colleagues who serve in County Public Accounts Committee, but be that as it may, as a principle, we cannot allow you to select which committee of the House you appear before. I have spoken more than 5 or close to 10 times to none other than including the chair of the Council of Governors, my good friend Governor Ahmed. And I have told him that there is a principle that I'm willing to die for. We cannot allow any individual, Mr. Speaker, to dictate and direct the operations of this House other than the decisions that are made on the presence of this House. And therefore, we asked our colleagues, governors, that come, appear, respond to the queries, then later on, present your petition to the leadership of the House. We will listen to you. Many times people do this. Mr. Speaker, for your information, every Wednesday morning, just like today, we have cabinet secretaries appearing before this House. Mr. Speaker, there are days in which, for one reason or the other, they are not able to appear. and they send in letters. Sometimes even those documents come in fairly late. But because we are leaders and we understand the demands of the high office that many of them hold, Mr. Speaker, we grant them the latitude. Therefore, we are not an obstinate institution. Nobody can accuse us, Mr. Speaker, that we are unreasonable in this exercise. We told our colleagues, appear, then we will have this conversation. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, some of them cheekily saw a silver lining and an opportunity for them. And I suspect, dear colleagues, that the 29 governors who chose not to appear are actually the originators of this silly idea of non-appearance, Mr. Speaker. And the reason why they came up with that idea is because the Auditor General did a fantastic job in the audit process of 2024-2025, insofar as exposing all the risks, exposing all the messes that are in our county governments, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, many of them saw this as the perfect opportunity to run away from accountability. And they use this excuse saying, oh, we had a collegiate agreement. Mr. Speaker, those are the gentlemen and the ladies, Mr. Speaker, that incited their colleagues and said, we shall not appear, because they knew what awaited them. Each of our colleagues that serves in that committee, together with us that attend every time a governor from the counties that we represent in this house are appearing, Mr. Speaker, we're waiting for the opportunity to listen to county governors give an explanation of how they have interacted with public resources. I said here yesterday, Mr. Speaker, that some of us believe in doing oversight differently. For all the years that I have served as a senator, in fact, to the detriment sometimes of my own political career, Mr. Speaker, I avoid discussing public finances and audit queries, Mr. Speaker, in public gatherings in my county. I try and rise above board. Many times, in fact, people submit or observe that as a weakness. But I have always known that there is granted to me a premium platform here in Parliament where the governor comes, appears, and there are questions based on a document that we didn't originate as a Senate. The Senate does not audit county governments. We only respond to issues that are raised by auditors, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, we were waiting for this perfect opportunity. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, what happened. This matter is now considered settled, in my humble opinion. Because if you don't respond to queries that you have been asked, it simply means you agree with the findings of the Auditor General. And that is a report that we passed yesterday at 6:30, Mr. Speaker. It is now upon the various state agencies, Mr. Speaker, and if you read Resolution 4 of this motion, Mr. Speaker, that the Senate resolves to actually collaborate with other institutions of oversight, the Controller of Budget, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the DPP. The only one that we forgot to add, Mr. Speaker, is the judiciary. Because the judiciary is also part and parcel of the institutions of oversight, Mr. Speaker. I personally believe that the only day, Mr. Speaker, for which this madness that exists in our county will come to a stop is the day governors will get pictures of one of their colleagues, Mr. Speaker, getting fit to dress in those prison uniforms, Mr. Speaker. That is the day people will realize that this is not a matter of child's play, Mr. Speaker. But so long as people know they can go to the ESCC, they explain themselves. If it moves to the DPP, you can have some political interference with it. Once it gets to the court, you understand how all these things happen, Mr. Speaker? You are not a stranger in Kenya. Therefore, we need to call upon all these institutions of oversight that we must work together to protect public resources. Devolution is so premium and dear to the people of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Devolution is perhaps the only best gift that the people of Kenya gifted themselves in 60 years since independence. It's the only meaningful thing that many parts of this country, perhaps the remotest parts of this country, the closest thing that they interact to government services is the little resources that we send to them, Mr. Speaker. And so long as we continue to read the reports that are being presented before us, Mr. Speaker, you must be worried. Mr. Speaker, we must get concerned. And I say this as somebody who has served in this house for quite a long time. When we came here in the first Senate, Mr. Speaker, I don't recall reading the kind of absurd audit reports as what I'm reading today. Mr. Speaker, in the first Senate, we only used to joke every afternoon, Senator Mazai will remember, about the golden fingerlings of Tharaka Nithi, where Governor Rangwa, Mr. Speaker, if you recall that particular moment, he is rumored to have bought fingerlings in somewhere, Mr. Speaker, worth millions of shillings. And when the auditors visited the county, he directed them to the river. I don't know what was the name of the river. If the senator for Tharaka Nithi was here and told them, please go and check if the fish are still there. And perhaps the non-carcinogenic wheelbarrows of Bungoma. And those remains to be the only absurd things that you'd hear during that first 5-year cycle. And when we came hard on oversight, the next phase, Mr. Speaker, you could see that governors were beginning to take shape. They were beginning to behave as expected, Mr. Speaker, or people interacting with public resources. And so many of the absurd things that you'd seen in the previous years, these are matters that you had forgotten. But to read this report that is being presented to us today, Mr. Speaker, where you're being told that there are governors that are feeding wild animals, and when auditors visiting them, they're saying go and interact and check how many kgs of meat they fed on, Mr. Speaker. That there are people hosting house parties using public resources, Mr. Speaker. That there is diversion of funds, wanton disregard, Mr. Speaker, to the provisions of public finance, Mr. Speaker. It is something that must concern us. Yet, look at how the governors are behaving when they come before these committees. That somebody can easily joke and say, I've forgotten my reading glasses. He ran away. Mr. Speaker, surely we cannot allow this kind of nonsense to continue. Much as we know, Mr. Speaker, that we engage each other as leaders level, surely the kind of conduct, and these are the things that we are waiting to raise, because I believe at some point we will get that opportunity where we will sit down with the Council of Governors and they'll say these are the issues that we have. And we will also tell them that these are the very issues that we equally have with you people. Do they speak to themselves as colleagues? Do they reason together and tell each other that this is not expected of you as a county governor? In the things that when you come before the Senate, you must prepare well. You must at least know a few basic issues. I have seen governors, Mr. Speaker, who the only response that they give to their committee or public accounts committee is to turn in the chair and say, oh, ask that one, ask this one, ask the other one. Completely clueless, Mr. Speaker, on the operations in their own county. They cannot even explain, Mr. Speaker, very basic issues. Yet, they want to point fingers at Public Accounts Committee and say, oh, this and that has been done, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, that meeting we are looking forward to. And our colleagues in leadership, the governor should not imagine for any minute that the Senate is not interested in listening to their concerns. We equally have questions that we want to ask you. Even just at the very least, leader to leader level, to find out from you whether you are not equally concerned the way the rest of the country is. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, because I know so many of our colleagues want to say something on this matter, and I can see time is far much spent, I wouldn't wish to take a lot of time. I'd wish to agree with the findings of this motion, particularly on resolution number 4, on collaborating with the agencies of oversight to follow through with what we passed yesterday in the afternoon, Mr. Speaker, so that should it ever appear in the mind of any governor in future to choose not to appear before Senate, they will think twice about it, Mr. Speaker. This should serve as a lesson to the 29 governors, Mr. Speaker. You know, and we are just talking about 29 governors. I wish I had the list, Mr. Speaker, because up to now, I feel the citizens of this country are yet to appreciate. Who are these people that we are talking about, Mr. Speaker? We must laud the 16 governors who found time to appear, even with all the challenges in the county. At least they submitted themselves to the authority of Parliament and said, I know this happened, but I value this. But to the 29 fugitives, Mr. Speaker, the day of reckoning must surely come. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Honourable Senator, Senator Ososi. So, no, freeze. You know you are seasoned legislator. You don't need to run up and down to sit down. Honourable Senators, I propose the question that aware that Article 96(1) and 3 of the Constitution mandates the Senate to represent counties, protect their interests, and oversee national revenue allocated to county governments. And that Article 22, 229, Subarticle 8, and the Public Audit Act require Parliament to debate audit reports and act within 3 months. Concerned that despite repeated invitations and summons, 15 county governors defined the select committees on CPAC and CPIC by refusing to appear and answer for financial mismanagement and accountability failures in the Auditor General's financial year 2024-25 reports. Appreciating that the CPAC and the CPIC diligently interrogated the Auditor General's issues, found reports within constitutional timelines, and secured the Senate approval on that 1st March 2026. Noting the urgent need for rigorous follow-up on these recommendations and ongoing Senate oversight of implementation. Now, therefore, notwithstanding Standing Order 2025, the Senate approves that the select committees of CPAC and CPIC immediately 1. Track implementation of the Senate-approved implementations and recommendations and the table monthly progress reports